Chicago deserves a winner, and just hoping that we gave this city something to be proud about. Obviously, we fell short, but it's very hopeful for this city just based upon the stuff we was able to do this year.
Despite what changes may come to personnel, coaching staffs, all of that, what do you want to take from this season? What was done this season that you guys want to take forward?
I mean, I would just say just the resiliency of the season this year. I mean, we had so many magical wins this year. Come from behind victories, rather if it's you know the Cincinnati game, the Green Bay wins, Minnesota. I mean, it's countless amount of games. But it was special, and I think the city felt that. It was a special year. Just appreciative of the guys. Everybody came in, worked their behinds off. I mean, we had guys coming back from injuries, core muscle surgery, coming back, not being 100%, fighting for the guys. So I think everybody recognized how special this was, and it just kind of sucks we're not able to be able to have a Monday morning victory Monday and not be able to continue to play.
How
But
much? Oh, sorry.
now you
How
get
much credit does Ben deserve for that, for changing that culture in here?
no a ton of credit. Obviously, he's the man in charge, and I think I've said this from day one. Chicago, the Bears, they got the right guy leading this team. He did a phenomenal job this year. Like I said, I think we all kind of knew when Ben came in as the head coach about his offensive play calling and how good the offense was going to be. But I think just the accountability tone that was set from day one with, the tough training camp that we had. And, I think he just did a phenomenal job this year.
What are your expectations for your future with this team, and have there been any talks with anybody about that yet?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be back here. When Poles came and got me last year, I had a tough couple years, just personally. But then obviously, just with getting traded and all that stuff and coming here, I wanted to be able to prove that I was still that guy that I always been in my career. And I think I've done that the past couple years. Obviously I just had to meet with Ben and Poles and all that good stuff. And, I definitely think there's mutual interest for me to be back. But, at the end of the day, I truly don't have any real control over it. I think with, the success that we all had this season as a team, I think a lot of guys on this team is going to be coveted around this league, honestly. And I think the same way the organization is always going to do what's best for the team, I think I owe that to my family as well, even though, like I said, I think my first option would be come back here in Chicago and kind of finish what we got started this year. Because, like I said, I just enjoy this locker room. I enjoy this team. I enjoy being the leader. I enjoy being able to break the huddles down before the games. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot of fun. This is who I am. So, I really enjoyed this season. Like I said, I would love to be back.
Kevin, you look like you're probably going to play another 10 years, 15 years.
Nah, I don't know about all that.
What matters to you as you look at what will be the second half of your career now?
Yeah.
What matters to you? What are the priorities?
I want to win. I want to win. This always been since I came into this league. Obviously everybody have different reasons why they do this thing. For me, it's always been about legacy. I want to be able to win. I want to be able to play at a high level and all that good stuff. But what motivates me and what drives that is to want to win and try to be the best person and be the best player, leader, teammate that I could possibly be for this organization or any organization. You know what I mean? So that's who I am. I want to be able to win. I want to be on a team that wants to win. And like I said, I truly don't know what this future is going to hold for me. I don't know what this offseason is going to look like. I'm going to take some time off, go back to being a full-time dad, and we'll see what happens.
Usually in recent history, the players who have said that have not come here to do that. Do you feel like that is something that you can do here, that there's big winning ahead here?
I mean, 100%. I mean, based upon what I've seen this past couple years, honestly. I know we didn't win a lot last year, but there's a reason why I signed here last year over a couple other offers and teams that I had is because I seen the talent on this roster. I seen the guys that we had, and I felt like we had a talented roster last year and we didn't win. But obviously this year, with Ben coming along and kind of resetting that culture, I see this being sustainable. Just based upon, because like I said, I've seen what winning looks like, and I feel like we can win here in Chicago. So, yeah, we'll see.
What makes you think
you can sustain this. I mean, you know how it is in the NFL. You know, you have a special season like that. It's hard to recapture.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to use the momentum from last year, from this year into this next season. But like you said, I think with the core of the guys that we have here, obviously with Ben leading this roster, but also, you have a franchise quarterback. And I think that's one of the hardest things to get right. You know what I mean? To have a franchise quarterback and, obviously continue to build around him. But like I said, who knows what it's going to look like on, that side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. But like I said, I think if you have those first two pieces with the head coach and the quarterback on the same page, and Caleb's going to do nothing but get better. I mean, I think the lessons that he's learned, he's going to learn from this year. He's going to take that into the offseason. It's going to drive him to be the best he can possibly be. I mean, he's already a top quarterback in this league, in my opinion. And I think that's going to attract people to want to come here as well because of just how good he is as a quarterback. So that's why I feel like it's sustainable.
Having a front row seat to so many of those dramatic passes at the end of the game, which one sticks out the most to you?
This last one. I mean, now I've said this every time somebody asks me, but no, that touchdown to Cole was unbelievable. I mean, guys were speechless on the sideline. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to drop some highlights or some of that just off our sideline. Actually, somebody burnt their jacket. I think it was a lady was on the sideline getting footage or whatever, and she was trying to get close, and the heater was right there. She almost burnt her jacket off. God. It was insane. No, but it was special. He's done it week in and week out. I mean, I don't think it surprises anybody at this point. Honestly, I think he's probably the most gifted thrower I've ever seen. Obviously, we talk about Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, and all these guys, but when I look at a highlight of his best throws, I don't think I've seen anybody better. You know what I mean? At least, me personally. Like I said, I maybe had to go back to some old highlights of Aaron Rodgers or whatever, but I mean, the throws that he's made, even just this year, has been unlike nothing I've ever seen.
KB, given your experience in this league, how do you describe the difficulty of trying to replicate this?
Well, it's very difficult, honestly. This has actually been my first playoff win since 2019 in Tennessee. I had been back to the playoffs like 3 other times, but I'd been a 1 seed, got bounced out divisional round, then missed the playoffs the next year, and then went to Philly, got bounced out wild card. So this is not something that's very easy to do at all. But I have belief in this group, in his team, and his organization. But like I said, I mean, we're all having these talks like, hey, man, we got to run this back. We got to run it back. But there's no guarantee that it's going to happen again. So, yeah, it's definitely been difficult to do it again.
How do you balance the desire to be here with the desire to take care of your family and do all that whenever the time comes?
Yeah, I mean, it would just really I just try to lean on my faith. And I think God has always been showing me a lot of grace in my life, and he's been leading me in the spirit, just in the right way. And I think once it's time to make the decision, I think it'd be an easy decision. I think he'll kind of lay it out for me in that way. So like I said, that's why I really don't know what his future is going to hold. I'm just going to try to get away from it. And I think the decision will be clear later on. It's very hard to say what's going to happen. Obviously, I can set my intentions on what I want to happen, but we'll see very soon.
As you've slept on it, what are your emotions now today as this season comes to a close?
Pretty similar, honestly. Pretty similar. I think this one probably staying for a while, but yeah, pretty much disappointment, obviously. Saying my appreciation to all the guys and everybody who put in the work to get to this point, but yeah.
Have you had your exit meeting yet?
I've talked to L, yeah, but I still have to talk to head man, GM, and some other folks.
What was his message to you, just about how the season went for you and things maybe you can work on in the off season, all that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just obviously making the plays that come to me, making the most of my opportunities. I feel like this season I had way too many opportunities I left out there on the field, and that's never been the player I feel like I've ever been in my career. So just capitalizing on those opportunities, but I got to go into the off season and put in the work to be able to do those things.
What does your off season look like with the foot? Is there anything in the plans there? Do you have to rest it for a while?
Yeah, it'll definitely just be rest. I'll be here trying to get some extra treatment with the folks, but get some scans, monitor the healing of it and all that. But the season's at the end, so rest.
Rom, how was the season for you when you weigh the improvements that you made as a player versus missing a lot of time, and how disruptive that probably was to you?
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, disappointing. Obviously, I felt like I had a great off season, great training camp coming into the season. Feel like I started off, hot, and being, the player for this team that I need to be. And, with some of those things, felt like it was a hiccup. But at the end of the day, we all play with different injuries and different things that we go through. So I got to step through and proceed to, be a catalyst to this team's success throughout those things. And I don't feel like I did that well enough this season. So. At the end of the day, it's going back to the drawing board, trying to look at some things with my routine or maybe my preparation that I can change so I can be the player I need to be for this team.
What do you think you learned about just what it takes to get to this point, to the postseason, and win in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Obviously, it takes a commitment from, everybody in the building every week to come get it done. And, kudos to everybody this year that, did that. I think it was a tremendous buy-in from everybody, and the work that was put in was very, very cool to see, very cool to be a part of. So, and nothing's guaranteed at the end of the day. You still have to go out there and get the job done every single Sunday. That's what I think we're looking forward to do come back next year.
This roster's going to change, but you're here for a while. So, like, what is it like to be a part of the core of what this team's going to build around going forward?
Yeah, I think it's good. Obviously, we had a great season. I don't think it was a season that a lot of people predicted us to have. This early with all the changes that we've had, and it was kind of like I said. I just want to be the best player possible I can be for this team. And give the city of Chicago, and the people that believed in me that brought me here to the player of a caliber that I need to be for that.
Rom, you said going into the season that the way that you were being coached was very helpful, that it was very clear. There was a lot of murkiness, maybe your rookie season, you didn't know if you were doing things the right way or not. How did you grow and develop as a wide receiver because of the coaching you got this year?
I think it was great. Yeah, I think it was great. Obviously, with Ben and his system and the supporting staff, from the offense, all those people were catalysts in, my development as a wide receiver, learning the playbook, understanding, the NFL defenses and different things that I need to look at to have success on a week in, a week out basis. So I feel like it was a very, accountability driven as well as, detailed and, like we talked about all season, that definitely helped me improve.
What about your connection with Caleb? How did that develop this year? You guys are going to be just a major focal point having come in together.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, it definitely had its flashes. Like I was saying earlier, I think it definitely was, something that was really prominent at the beginning of the season. And then obviously with some of the things I was going through and some of the missed opportunities out there kind of, faltered in certain moments. So something that we continue to build on. But, just looking at some of the plays Caleb was making out there this season, he definitely, will put it out there on the line. So got to be out there and available for him in the best manner.
What did it mean to see the city come alive around you guys?
It was great. It was great. I think the city of Chicago was definitely, yearning for a team like this, a season like this, and with the Cardiac Bears, we did it in a spectacular fashion at times. So, they supported us through thick and thin, and we appreciate that. I think that's something that they can come to expect.
Now that it's over, can you tell us how bad it was trying to play on that foot?
It was rough, man. It was rough. I'm not gonna sit here and say, I can barely. It is what it is. We play through injuries. It's part of the game. I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses about the foot, but it's something I was dealing with.
You said before no surgery. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, that's still the plan.
Rome, in this moment, how do you wrap your brain around the missed opportunities that you've mentioned?
For me, it's just I don't know. Obviously, it's a disappointment. Like I said, looking back on my career, it's never been something that has been a prolific thing for me. I don't think it's going to be something prolific going forward. Like I was saying, I feel like I put in a lot of good work this off season. I had a great training camp as well. Understanding of the offense and those things. But for me, it just goes back to the work. If those things aren't, coming to fruition, then there's a reason for that. If the work I need to put in, or maybe the routine I need to change, or something on those facets to, be out there and be the best player possible. But for me, it's just, healing up my foot and getting back to work.
The play that happened down near the goal line last night on the first drive, what happened on that one?
Yeah, I think I just missed the opportunity, really. The ball was coming in. Was trying to, make a play on it, just the ball wrong and didn't end up with it.
Is that what's weighing on you right now? I mean, we're around you all the time, and it just seems like you're kind of feeling it today.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's just obviously individual wise, wasn't the season I wanted to have. And when the season comes to end, a lot of those emotions kind of come, flushing through. But for me, it's just, it really hurts just not, being coming through in some of those moments throughout the whole season. It's just not just last night. It's several different plays, and not to say I didn't help this team. I'm not gonna sit here and say I drug us down. I'm the reason. It's not the attitude that I have, but when I'm not making the plays that I feel like I can make and being the player that I feel like I am in this league is disappointing. Not only for myself and my individual goals, but for my teammates, the guys who I bleed with, I go to war with every week. So, yeah.
Ron, when you talk about the buy-in that was created this season with this team, how do you guys keep that? How do you maintain it going forward?
I think it's easy. I mean, we got a good group of men in this locker room. Obviously, the team's going to be a little bit different next year. That's kind of how it always goes. But we're going to have Ben, or we'll have Caleb. Have some of our core guys. Have some new additions. Some rookies come in. But I think that's just the type of men that we have in this locker room. And kudos to the GM and all that staff for bringing the type of guys that he does in, because the buy-in really isn't something that is a question. At least through my first 2 seasons here, even last year. So I think it's just gonna, continue. Obviously, you kind of got to reset. Don't let this season, all the lessons that we've learned this season, or the wins in the essence, get to our head. Understand that next year nothing is guaranteed. We got to go get it yet again.
With a new coach, you never exactly know how that's going to go. What did you learn about that through this entire last 9 months?
Honestly, I feel like I learned, from the first time he stepped into the building and who he was. I learned who he was, and he's been consistent throughout, the entire season. With his goal for us and with his determination and how he leads and where he wants his organization to go. He's been, super consistent in that fact. So I think that's something that honestly is a great thing. It hasn't been something that you have to continue to try and judge or fill out. From the day he stepped in, he wants his organization to be great, and he leads by example and vocally, and that's essence.
Especially a tough way to end, but I feel like everything we accomplished, everything we did this year, was up to par, and it was a heck of a year. It was amazing, NFC champs. We did a lot of things that people didn't think we were going to do this year, and we fought to the end, and that's all I could ask for. And it was amazing.
I know this is the first winning team you've been a part of here.
Mm-hmm.
What is that success? How much hungrier does it make you going forward?
Yeah, a lot more hungrier. Getting to the playoffs. Seeing what that feel like, seeing the energy, things like that. And just wanting to keep winning and just get closer to winning the championship is, what makes me hungry every single time. But just want to get to that Lombardi.
There's a lot of talk after the game about you never have this exact same team together again, and that's what makes it hurt a little bit, including your future with the team being done.
Yeah.
Does that bring some extra pain to it and make it a little more reflective?
No, it does. It does. It brings a lot of pain. A lot of individuals, are great, especially off the field. These are great men off the field, great, fathers, great, sons, things like that, great husbands and great teammates too. And it hurts, to not, be a part of this no more, with them or us together for this group to separate. And it's going to be tough, but, I know it's going to be greater for everybody. And, everything's going to fall into place for certain people.
Sorry, you were sitting at your locker in your jersey, probably the longest out of anyone last night. Was there any reason to that?
Really just hurting. We lost. We lost a playoff game, especially here in Chicago. I hate losing, but it could have been my last time in a Bears uniform, and obviously I wanted to soak that in. And I'm really the last person to always leave the locker room. Never really the last person to have my equipment on, but just soaking that time in, embracing the locker room, embracing, everything, and, I don't know what it could be in the future.
How much did it mean to you after everything you've been through health-wise to stay on the field?
Yeah, it meant a lot. To finally complete a year, this year, after all the hard work I been through, what I've been through, all the hard work I put in, and to see it finally,
finish the year and this year, how everything went. We made it to playoffs, things like that. Had a great year. It was amazing. I thank God for that.
Sorry, Jim. I asked you last night if you wanted to be back. You said for sure, but do you expect you'll be back on this team next year?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't have an answer for you right now.
What have they told you about what they think about your future?
I honestly didn't talk to anyone yet, so I'm not gonna sit here and tell you anything. You know what I mean? I'm being honest.
What does it mean to be a part of an organization now? Like, this team has been looking for a franchise quarterback for a long time. It feels like they found it. To know that, like, there's a foundation here that can, whether you're part of it or not, like, it can be built off of. What does it mean to you?
I mean, it's amazing. Seeing 18, grow, especially from the first day he walked into what he is now. It's amazing to see, what type of player, he's going to be. He's going to continue to grow. But he's becoming a better man, a better person, a better player, a better teammate. And you see the plays he makes out there, and you can't coach some of them things. And they have a quarterback here in Chicago, and it's going to be special, for whatever team's going to be a part of this. He's going to be a problem in this league.
Carter mentioned being healthy the whole season. Do you feel like he showed this organization something by being able to stay on the field, especially like he played in that final game?
Yeah, I did. I feel like I did. I feel like I showed him every game, every single practice. Even the years prior, I feel like I showed what I could do when I was healthy. And this last season, the last game, that's my last one. So I went out with a bang.
What about Ben's impact on this locker room and what he's brought to this team and teaching you just what it takes to win this?
His impact is been great. The way he came in and changed the culture, the way he's been a player coach. That's why you see the players go out and play for him every single time. You're willing to die on the field for a coach like that, a staff like this, and they're special guys, and you could tell. Obviously Chicago got a great head coach and a great coaching staff, and the future is bright here, and it's going to be amazing to see what they do in the future, whether I'm here or not. It's going to be amazing though, still.
Jaquan, looking back at it all, how would you define the identity of this team?
Man, super tough, gritty, guys playing for each other. There's so many words, that, come to mind when I think about this team. But, guys just playing for each other, guys having each other's back, never leaving your brother, and, leaving it out all on the field. And, that's all you can ask for, You willing to die for your teammates, die for your coaches, die for everybody within this organization. Chicago, it was amazing. Definitely amazing ride, amazing run, and it's a special place.
Coming into this thing, I was just trying to gain the trust of the organization, gain the trust of my teammates. Make them feel like they made the right decision in bringing me here, and trying to help us win games at the end of the day. And we fell short at the end of the season, but personally looking at it. Like I said, I did some good things, but definitely things I can build off of.
And what did you learn about the identity of this team?
I think everybody saw just like, strive to the end, can't ever count us out, fight and scratch for everything, and just never count us out. Like we believe in each other at the end of the day. I think we proved that week in and week out. And just like I said, building off of it. That's all.
Was there a point in the season or a game where it's like you really started to buy into, okay, we are a good fourth quarter team. Like this isn't just like a 1 week wonder sort of thing.
Yeah.
This is the identity.
I always knew we had it in us to do that. I think it kind of became a thing once we had those, I think 2 back-to-back week, 1-point game wins versus Vegas and the Commanders. I think that's kind of when everybody kind of see these guys kind of figure it out in the fourth quarter no matter what the situation is. And, we kind of just embrace that identity. We knew we had to be better in the first half, so we're not in those situations. But we knew if the game was close, we believed that we could always pull it out.
What has Eric Bieniemy meant to you this year?
He's meant a lot. I think he's most of all, he kind of just, helped me to understand what it takes to be a great running back in this league. And the amount of detail, the focus, the preparation, and all those things. Just kind of learning from him as a running back coach, somebody who's been a former OC and coached great players. He definitely helped me a lot from OTAs when we first met until now.
It's fresh, but what does it mean to just be a part of a foundation in your first year to kind of build from this season? What does that mean to you to be a part of that?
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, we fell short, so it's a somber time now. But at the end of the day, looking forward, it's definitely a lot of brightness in our future for sure.
What about the direction of this team do you think carries forward? Stuff from this season that will still be around when you guys come back?
I think just that grit and that belief in each other. I don't think that's going anywhere, no matter who's comes back next year, who's not here. That's our identity we have in this locker room. It's just belief in each other and doing it for the guy next to you.
How much of that is Ben Johnson responsible for?
Probably most of it. But I think he instills it in us, and then it's on us to carry that culture. So like I said, he leads us and we go as he goes. But then at the end of the day, the guys in the locker room definitely embody that.
It was a great season. Had a blast doing it, and you don't want something like this to end because you don't know how next year will be. There's a lot of turnover in this league, and it is what it is. But you appreciate the time you had.
What do you think you guys established that sustains as you go on?
Our identity, as a team as a whole, offense, for me specifically, we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna air it out as well, and I feel like we got good core players to do so, and good guys coming back, and we got to make it happen again.
Cole was saying last night that you guys are positioned really well going forward, but also you're right there this year. And it's hard to kind of say, "Oh, we'll be back," because it's just really hard to do. As a veteran, do you have an appreciation for just how difficult it is to get where you guys got last night, where you're a couple plays away?
Yeah, definitely. As you get older in this league, and you go through things, you realize how hard it is to get back to things like that. And I had an old coach say, like, that might be our only shot. You don't ever think that, but it could be the truth. But we're going to attack next year with even more edge and hunger to get back to where we were and go even farther.
As someone who knew Ben before coming here, what was it like to see him operate and do everything?
It was great. It was great. I as soon as the opportunity came to come here with Ben, it was a no-brainer. How he was as an OC, how he was as a tight ends coach 6 years ago. You've seen it, and it's awesome.
What about his connection with Caleb? What have you noticed, and what have you taken away from this year?
I seen last year the relationship between Matthew and Sean McVay. That's critical between the play caller and the QB, and him and Ben have very similar things, and their ability to make magic happen when things are needed is awesome.
Given how last season went for you, how fulfilling was it this year for you to?
Yeah. I said this is my first full season since my rookie year, so it was awesome. It was great.
What about the chemistry up front between, especially playing with Darnell and Drew? How would you describe it? How fun was it?
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. Those guys, I wouldn't trade them for the world, and I'm glad, we're still all under contract together to get back at it.
In what ways did this team take on Ben's personality?
I feel like there was already some core values here of being gritty and the NFC North and things like that. But he just instilled things, and we attacked each day how we needed to.
As you're driving home last night, or how were you processing what happened at the end? You got just an unbelievable play to stay in overtime, or to force overtime, and then the game ends the way it ends.
It's tough, but you appreciate the good things that happen. You think of all the. It's kind of like life flashes before your eyes. The year flashes before your eyes, and it like I said, it sucks because there's going to be a lot of turnover, a lot of new faces and things like that. But you just appreciate what you had while you had it.
As a veteran, how do you describe to the younger guys the difficulty of trying to do it again?
Yeah, this league is different. It's a beast, and you only get so many chances at it. And, you just got to keep attacking each and every day. To attack the off season, so you're ready to go into the season next year.
Obviously, if you compare it to previous seasons, we were more successful this year. But I think maybe the only issue I find in that is I don't think there's any sense that we've finished building anything. I think we're really happy with the progress we've made and with kind of the trajectory we're on, but I don't think anybody feels satisfied with the finished product is now.
I know it's kind of a cliche to say an identity is formed, but some of your teammates have have said that. Like, how would you describe maybe what identity has formed with the way you guys have played this year?
Yeah, I think we found a good process of playing with effort and focus and playing physical and detailed football. And so I think you got to continue that, and it's maybe an identity that we held this year, but once again, you have to continue to establish it and continue to improve that. So yeah, I think it's all encouraging stuff and good signs that what we've been doing is working. So.
Sorry, I know this is your first year here, but this team has been looking for a franchise quarterback forever. What are your thoughts on Caleb being that guy, and what did you see from him all season?
Yeah, I mean, I guess first and foremost, awesome guy, great teammate, great to have around, all those things, and then like all the superlatives as a player, like as an O-line, can't tell you the amount of times that he's helped us out when we've struggled, or made huge plays for the team to keep us in games or to win games. And so I don't know what else you can ask for. So.
Is there a sense that you guys are well positioned going forward, but also it's hard to get as far as you guys got this year? As a veteran, do you have an appreciation for just kind of how close you were to advancing, and do you think that might gnaw at you more than a younger guy? You know.
Yeah. I think, I don't think you can ever really count on, we'll just do it next year or the year after, like that kind of thing. So I think, you certainly, like, it sucks to come up short, and you know the opportunity that you missed out on. But yeah, I think that's one of those things, like, we gave everything we had, and you got to come back at it again next year and hope that with increased effort, increased focus, all those things, that you'll push past that.
When he completes that touchdown at the end of the regulation, what's going through your head?
What do we need to do next? Like what's the, we're going overtime. Like, what needs to happen? What improvements need to, like, I feel like you just kind of, it's really cool, and then you're immediately like, okay, like this is not finished at all. So,
how did your rapport connection with Caleb kind of grow this season?
Yeah, it's great. I think I remember saying this early on. I really believe you have to just kind of let it organically happen in like a true relationship. So I think it was great. Like, it became closer friends, better teammates, worked better on the field together, all those things. And it comes with reps and joking around the locker room and all those kind of things. And so it's been fun to do, and it's also gone well.
And so. Through all that, what did you notice about his connection with Ben probably growing at the same time?
Yeah, I think I think Caleb would speak much better on that, as would Ben, but I'm sure it's better, and I feel like we feel the effects of maybe it growing closer. So.
Drew, I know nothing's guaranteed, but what does it mean to know that Jonah, Joe, Ozzie, Darnell, you guys are you're all under contract for next year, so probably all gonna be here. What does that mean to have that continuity?
Yeah, it's great. It's great for friendships and kind of the culture of the room, and also obviously stability on the O-line is always helpful. And I feel like we said exit interviews, like you talk to the coaches and you have a clear view of, here are my deficiencies, here's what needs to get better. What do we need to do as a group better? And so I think when you have all those guys that experience those mistakes together in the past, it makes it all the more like poignant next year when we're trying to address them. So like this came up in this situation, it came up in this situation. So I think you feel that more as a group.
Was Ben everything you thought he'd be when you decided to sign your free agents?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I had like a super firm notion of what it would be like or anything. But I can definitely say Ben's an incredible coach, incredible football mind, and great leader, and it's an absolute pleasure to play for him. So,
can you talk about what it's been like to play in an offense like this, and what identity do you feel that you established as an offense?
Yeah, I think definitely an explosive unit that works well together, and we can play complementary football, and also knowing that we had success and we still had a ton of stuff we needed to clean up. From my perspective, from a line perspective, as a whole unit, and so I think it encourages you that there's like a lot more meat on the bone. So,
just the way that you're wired, are you the type of person that do you watch last night's game? Are you breaking it down this morning? Do you try to just kind of move forward? Where how do you put last night's game in perspective in terms of trying to get, as you just said, kind of get better?
Yeah, I will watch it. I haven't had a chance to yet, just because this morning's a busy morning. But yeah, I'll watch it, kind of analyze myself and look at the whole picture.
You seen the replay of the throw though?
I have seen that, yeah.
Kind of when you're not in the moment, what do you think of it?
I mean, it's incredible. Like, as far as like a guy that can put the ball anywhere on the field at any time. That's like pretty special by Caleb.
He's done that all season long. Like, what is it to have confidence in him in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, like we're in the huddle however many times this year where we're down and need to score in short time and things like that. And I don't think none of us are ever like, oh, like I don't think we have the talent or the coaching to like get this done. I feel like all of us are like, yeah, if we execute, like it's gonna happen. So.
Drew, what emotions from last night have they changed today? Have the night to sleep on it?
I'm not sure. I think it's a mixture of just frustration and sadness, but also appreciation for a year that like we pointed things in the right direction. You put in a lot of good effort that feels worthwhile. So there's like some satisfaction, but obviously you're not satisfied with the result. So I think you just kind of like think on that for a while and kind of see where you fit as far as like what needs to change, what you can appreciate, what went wrong, what you regret, like those kind of things.
I think he's established a winning culture, and he's definitely given us something to build on, especially I know for me, for sure.
What can you say about what Joe and Jordan switching positions?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, that's astronomical by him, to go from left guard to left tackle, especially, I mean, the player he went against as well, it was very good. And Jordan, I feel like he balled out, and even, he had some things he was playing through, and he was tough as hell for that. I mean, couldn't be more proud.
How would you describe the chemistry being built up front, especially on the right side? You and Jonah played the full season together.
Yeah, I mean, that was good. That was good for me. In previous years I've had, some guys in and out of there, whether it's injury or whatever have you. Just having that consistently beside me, something to build on each week and, practicing it, getting reps on it. That was big for me, and I think we did a good job. He did a great job.
What's it mean to know that he'll be back next year and you'll, Drew and Joe and all those guys back?
Yeah, that's big. So we can just build on, some of the things we've set up this year. See how it takes us.
Now, how do you reflect on Caleb, what he was able to do leading you guys this season?
Yeah, he was great. There was games where he single-handedly, won us the game. Obviously, he's the best quarterback I ever played with for sure. So I'm happy he's going to be my quarterback next year as well. So.
What does that do? I mean, the belief must be something special then, but with everything you just said about Caleb in the locker room.
Yeah, I know one thing I've learned about him is he would do whatever it takes to win. And I've seen that through training camp, through OTAs, through practice. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. He needs to get better at whatever he thinks he needs to get better at. He will do those things. I know that.
Do you have plans this offseason? Do you know to get that shoulder fully healthy? Do you know?
My shoulder's fine.
You certainly look good.
And what fifth-year option is this offseason too, man?
I don't know. I don't really care about none of that.
Have you thought about what it might be? Just the idea of being here for a long time, knowing what you guys built this season, just an excitement about being part of this thing for a while.
Yeah, I would love to be. I would love to be on the team for my whole career, for sure. That would be great.
They can make that happen this offseason, right?
Well, I can't.